Hello, everyone, and welcome to today's first press briefing of the European Medicines Agency in 2024. I'm Marie-Agnes Hein, and I'm in charge of the communication department at EMA. In today's briefing, we will cover some information of medicines approved last year, but also provide you with some information on recent developments and trends in the area of cancer treatments. I'm delighted to introduce to you our two speakers today. And here with me are, on my left immediately, Stefan Tjirstrup, who is EMA's Chief Medical Officer, and who will give you a general overview and highlight certain new treatments. Our second speaker today is Francesco Pignatti, who is EMA's Scientific Advisor in Oncology, and he will focus on achievements and trends in the field of oncology. The two speakers will provide you with their perspectives on the medicines recommended for approval in 2023, and then we will open the floor for questions. Now, some housekeeping matters. We have reserved a maximum of 45 minutes for this briefing, and your microphones are muted and will be opened only for questions if you have raised your hand and after you have been given the floor. This briefing is broadcast live, but we will also make available a recording afterwards on the EMA website. I'm now giving the floor to EMA's Chief Medical Officer, Stefan Tjirstrup. Stefan, please go ahead.
Thank you, Marie-Agnes, and thank you to all for joining this press conference today and for the opportunity to speak. As said by Marie-Agnes, we will primarily focus on approvals from last year, 2023, and the trends we have been observing. So let me start with some basic figures, and also remind you that we this morning published on our website an overview highlights of approvals in 2023. Last year, our Scientific Committee for Human Medicinal Products, the CHMP, recommended approval of 77 medicines. Out of these, 39 medicines, that is roughly 51%, contained a new active substance. A new active substance means that the medicines, or the active ingredient of the medicines, has never been approved in the European Union before. The number of new medicines is overall approved is a little bit lower than previous years, but if you look at the number of new active substances, this is well in line with what we've seen in the past. As in many previous years, cancer or oncology was the therapeutic area with the highest number of new approval recommendations. 32% of every medicines approved or recommended for approval falling with this area. And we'll come back to oncology later in this press briefing. Following cancer, neurology had the highest number of approvals. 11 medicines were recommended for approval here. And therapeutic areas like cardiology and endocrinology have 6 new medicines recommended for approval. Several of these medicines, and of course we cannot mention them all, but many of them stands out in terms of their innovation and how they address unmet medical needs. Among them, and one of those we gave a positive opinion in December, is the first advanced medicine therapy product using the Nobel Prize-winning gene editing technology known as CRISPR-Cas19. This medicine, Casgevy is the trade name, was developed to treat 2 different rare blood disorders, severe sickle cell disease and transfusion-dependent beta thalassemia. The medicines got a conditional marketing authorization to treat patients from 12 years of age or older. This is a one-off treatment, and it has been shown to reduce the number of severe pain episodes in patients with sickle cell disease and to eliminate the dependence on blood transfusions in patients with beta thalassemia. As such, both these medicines are expected to drastically improve the quality of life of these patients. Moving on and looking out of the window, we are currently in the season where respiratory diseases are on the rise. This is not only influenza and COVID-19 that are frequent out there, it's also RS virus or respiratory syncytial virus that are causing a lot of illnesses and hospitalization. This is especially very frequent in the elderly population and in newborn children. It's estimated that roughly 250,000 elderly patients are hospitalized every year, resulting in 17,000 deaths only due to RS virus. Last year, we gave the green light to 2 vaccines against RSV. These two vaccines, named Arexi and Abrysvo, both protects older adults against this lower respiratory tract infection. One of them, Abrysvo, is also to protect newborn children when their mothers are vaccinated during pregnancy. And this will prevent the disease in newborn children, where children get bronchiolitis, pneumonia, and some of these cases are even fatal. Talking about children, there are much other good news for children in 2023 approvals. We issued two so-called pediatric use marketing authorization, or PUMAs. This is a process that was established as part of the pediatric regulation in 2007 as part of the legislation to make it more commercially attractive for pharma industry to develop medicines for children. The pediatric use marketing authorization were given to Acmeldi and Petmaxi. Acmeldi is a medicine for treatment of heart failure. The active substance has already been approved, but this is for the pediatric use, and the tablet is a tablet that dissolves under the tongue, and therefore is a more appropriate formulation for children. The other Puma, Petmaxi, is a medicine to prevent what is called ototoxicity, that is hearing loss and balance problems that you might see when given anti-cancer therapy with a product called cisplatin. This is, of course, for the treatment of children below 18 years of age who is getting cisplatin. Another topic for medicines to children, I think it's also important to highlight when we look at already approved medicines that get extended indications, so new indications for use in children. Half of those new extended indications that we issued last year were for pediatric indication. Compared to previous years, this is an increase. Normally, this figure is around 40%. Moving from children, or not necessarily leaving children, but moving outside Europe and talking about people affected with diseases in non-European low and middle income countries. We have a process in collaboration with the World Health Organization, called Medicines for All scheme. Under this process, we approve products that contribute to protection and promotion of public health in third world countries. Last year, we recommended two products against neglected tropical diseases. One of them is medicine recommended for treatment of schistosomiasis or bilharziosis, which typically affect around 50 million young children in the third world. Praziquantel, sorry for these names, I don't invent them. This product is intended to treat the parasitic blood infection caused by tremonot worms that damage bladder, kidney, and liver in these kids. Another tropical disease is sleeping sickness. And for this disease, fexifenazole Winthrop was approved, or rather got its indication extended. The product to treat sleeping sickness that is caused by a parasitic infestation transmitted by the tsetse fly. The product was originally approved in 2018 for sleeping sickness caused by the parasite Trypanosoma bruchii gambiense. This year, the new indication and the extended of use is to treat the more acute and lethal form of the sleeping sickness caused by another parasite, Trypanosoma rudesiense. These was difficult names, both the diseases and the products. Sorry for that. Lastly, I would like to highlight that we also approved 8 biosimilars. That means that the number of biosimilars approved in the European Union is now 97. Biosimilars are biological products to treat life-threatening diseases, cancer, sclerosis, eye diseases, and so forth. Biosimilars is important for member states in increasing the access and improve quality of life of the citizens. In 2023, we also improved the access to In 2023, we also continued our work to tackle the COVID-19 pandemic. In particular, we approved a new vaccine, yet another vaccine, you might say, against COVID-19, the EMA vaccine. And as you're most likely also aware, we updated the already approved vaccines, the Comirnaty, the Spikevax, and Nuvaxovid, to have the most recent strain in them. As promised before, we will now turn our focus to the area with the most approvals, the highest number, namely cancer or oncology. Cancer remains a big challenge for the healthcare systems in Europe. There are high unmet medical needs, and it's a major health concern. The European Medicines Agency is committed to work to promote and support the European Beating Cancer Plan. To reflect this commitment, last year we appointed a scientific advisor in oncology, Dr. Francesco Pignatti, who sits here next to me. I will hand over to Francesco so he can highlight some of the key products in the area of cancer that was approved in 2023, but also explain how we will use the learnings from our oncology review to enable high quality, robust assessment of other key medicines to unmet medical need. Please, Francesco.
Thank you, Stefan. Indeed, cancer was again a very active therapeutic area, and this is very welcome for a disease that touches millions of people every year. And this high activity has been going on for many years. And again, in 2023, there were 25 new cancer drugs approved and brought significant innovation to the treatment of a number of patients with diseases like multiple myeloma, leukemias, lymphomas, and biliary tract cancer and pediatric brain cancers. Now, in these approvals, our scientific committees have used a number of mechanisms and programs to support development, and 7 products were approved under our conditional marketing authorization. 1 underwent accelerated assessment, and 2 were part of our PRIME scheme, which is EMA's scheme to enhance support for the development of medicines that target an unmet medical need. Now, a lot of advances also came through extensions of indications of already approved products, including for the first-line treatment of melanoma, lung cancer, prostate cancer, and breast cancer. Now, despite these many significant breakthroughs that we've seen over the years, there are a number of gaps still to fill, high unmet need, but also challenges in the development, how to generate the right data, how to deal with the complexity of drug development, and the many decision makers in the health system. In 2023, trying to address some of these challenges, we've launched an initiative called the Cancer Medicines Pathfinder. Why the Pathfinder? Well, during COVID-19 pandemic, the EU regulatory network has shown exceptional resilience and adaptability. And so we thought, why not look at what we have learned during the pandemic and try to apply this in a way that we can improve how we evaluate and develop medicines overall. And oncology was a therapeutic area which was particularly suitable for that, given the scientific process, scientific progress that happens as we speak. And the Cancer Medicines Pathfinder really groups initiatives under 3 pillars. One is how to speed up development and assessment. The second is to strengthen the collaboration. And lastly, how to optimize communication. Now, the first pillar on how to speed up development and assessment, here we're exploring how we can further expedite our processes, but also support developers in the form of guidance on how to achieve maximum efficiency, but of course, keeping high quality standards applied to all the medicines we approved. And concretely, This will mean guiding developers in their submissions, building capacity within our network using the multinational assessment framework, as well as conducting analysis of pitfalls to inform future development. Our second pillar is based on international collaboration and strengthening it. We have a long track record of multi-stakeholder dialogue with many of our partners from academia, research, developers, payers, insurers, patients, and other organizations. Just to give you an example about regulators, we have since many years have a monthly interaction with the FDA and other regulators across the world where we exchange information about regulatory actions. Well, there will be more of that coming, and just recently EMA has announced that we will be joining as observers the Orbis program, but there are many other of these activities. One very important activity that we have started in Europe is the Cancer Medicines Forum, where we come together, regulators and academia regularly to look at ways that we can support optimization of cancer treatments. And what you can look forward to is a number of workshops that we're organizing. There are two, for example, we're organizing with the European Organization for Research and Treatment of Cancer, the EORTC. One was actually last week, looking at soft tissue sarcomas as models for developing drugs in ultra-rare cancers. We're organizing similar workshops in looking at patient-reported outcomes, especially quality of life in drug applications. We will be looking at workshop with the Cancer Medicines Forum on treatment optimization and other disease and endpoints. Now, finally, our third pillar is about optimizing communications. Those of you who have followed our work in the last decades really know about the continuous effort in improving the way we communicate about the benefit and risk of medicines. And this effort is just constantly strengthened and evolving. You can look forward to new structured templates on benefit risk assessment and communication, advancing the methodology for endpoint assessment, including looking at new sources of data, and also developing new international guidance on patient preference studies. I stop here to allow time for questions and hand over the floor to our moderator.
Thank you very much, Francesco, and also thank you, Stefan. So we are now opening up the floor for questions. And as always, dear colleagues from the media, please turn on your camera if you want to ask a question, and also raise your hand in WebEx. And when I give you the floor, we will unmute you and you can then ask your question once the microphone has been enabled. And we now have a first question from Ashley Furlow from Bloomberg. Ashley, please go ahead.
Hi, thank you. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Fantastic. I just have a question about the ongoing review of the safety of the GLP-1 drugs and the possible links to suicidal thoughts. I know that the review is supposed to be reporting back in an April PRAC meeting, but I was wondering, given that the US FDA has published interim findings from their review, if we might see something sooner than that. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I think the deadlines have not changed, and we are not going to provide any information before that. So unfortunately, we cannot give you an answer at this point. So I'm going to take the next question, who is coming from Victoria English from MedNu. Victoria, please go ahead.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Not very good. You're a little bit breaking off, but try again.
I don't have a very good connection, so I apologize. I have two questions following on from the one that's just been asked. This concerns the safety review of the CAR T therapies that's taking place in the United States. And whether you have any similar work that you're doing here. And the second is an oncology specific question about whether there's any trend that can be noticed in the approvals for the earlier treatment of cancer.
Thank you very much for your questions. The first one is on the CRISPR technology, and I hand over to Stefan. CAR T cells, I think. Sorry.
Yeah. I heard the question dealing with the CAR T cell safety review, and you're correct. The FDA have initiated such a review, and we are undertaking a similar review here. I think that's the basic answer I can give you. I don't know the exact timelines for the outcome of that. And for the trends, I think I can pass on to Francesco.
Yes, please.
Yes, I think the perceived trends derive from a wish to, let's say, move away when possible from a very last line type of development where because these are rare subgroups, often the evidence is very small, and try to develop drugs earlier on. Now, there are many difficulties in doing so, and so I think there is an FDA project that is currently exploring how to explore this type of development and whether there is an opportunity to shift the development earlier. As of today, I cannot say that we can observe such a trend yet.
Thank you very much, Francesco. I see that, no, now it's gone. I thought that there was still a hand. I don't see any hands, so this would be your last possibility. Now, Ian Schofield has been raising his hand from Pink Sheet. Ian, the floor is yours.
Hi, thanks for a very interesting presentation. I was particularly interested in the Francesco Pignati's description of the Pathfinder initiative for cancer drugs. And I was wondering if you could give me a little bit more information on how this is progressing, particularly on the, I think you mentioned guidance for people submitting marketing authorization applications in the oncology field, and what kind of interest has been shown by companies so far.
Thank you very much, Ian. This question is on the Pathfinder initiative, and I hand over to you, Francesco.
Yes, there are a number of initiatives here, and I think many are still developing with our oncology working party. I think one of the focus currently is about endpoints. I think there is still a lot of opportunities to discuss endpoints, and quite recently we've published a survey of European regulators on how they look at a rather controversial endpoint, which is progression-free survival in oncology. For many, an opportunity for early approval, for others, a sort of secondary endpoint to compare to the more desirable endpoints like overall survival. I think it's interesting to explore that there are many different attitudes, and what we've seen is that there is definitely an opportunity to continue working on this. So within the context of our benefit risk assessment and communication framework, within the context of the workshops organized with our oncology working party and our scientific committees, you will see this debate evolve. At this moment, we have identified this as a priority topic.
Thank you very much. So I do not see any more questions. Please raise your hand if you want to ask. Otherwise, I'm very happy for your participation, and I want to close this press briefing for today. So thank you very much. Also, thank you very much to our speakers today. And as you have seen, we have published this morning our Human Medicines Highlights, which actually contain quite comprehensive information on all the medicines that were approved last year. And you might find additional details there. And as always, if you have any further questions or any feedback to us, please do not hesitate to follow up and send an email to press@ema.europa.eu. So thank you very much and have a nice afternoon. Bye-bye.